press release. At the 46th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council in 2021, there was a restricted representation of Colombian civil society. In accordance with the mandate of the UN Human Rights Council, the participation of government representatives and civil society is encouraged. According to ECOSOC Resolution 1996-31 and Article 71 of the United Nations Charter, on the participation of civil society in the work of the UN, civil participation is a strategic priority. According to the UN Human Rights Council website, civil society participation reinforces the shared goals of the UN Human Rights Council, strengthens alliances, and supports the office's human rights mission and initiatives for a better future and to share the common goals of justice, equality, and human dignity. The last 45 session of the UN Human Rights Council included civil representatives from Colombia. Regarding the 46th session of the UN Human Rights Council, civil representatives from other countries were included, and there was a restricted representation of Colombian civil society, since the representative of Colombian civil society, from the Movement Against Racism and for the Friendship of the Peoples, could not intervene. Having a session of the UN Human Rights Council without full and adequate civil representation is highly irregular and circumspect. It degrades the legitimacy of the UN Human Rights Council as an exclusive spokesperson for governments, because it puts at risk the effective participation of civil society actors such as human rights defenders, human rights NGOs, bar associations, student clubs, unions, university institutes, bloggers, environmental rights activists, or charities that work with discriminated groups. Taken from the website of the Human Rights Council. Leonardo Rodriguez, PhD in International Studies, presented his 1 minute and 30-second speech on human rights violations in Colombia 1 month in advance. Specifically, the infiltration of the paramilitaries and drug trafficking in the Colombian state, as well as international control over the elections in Colombia. However, the notification received was delayed, and the oral intervention of the representative could not be made effective. Although the UN publishes that it guarantees the participation of civil society, this time part of the Colombian civil society was blocked, and Michelle Bachelet, United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, could not hear the intervention. It would be pertinent to guarantee a fluid participation of Colombian civil society in the 46th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council, that ends on Monday, March 22, 2021. Next is the oral intervention. Human Rights Council Session 46, February to March 2021. As everyone can see in the last 3 annual reports of the office, Colombia is experiencing a systematic and sustained violation of human rights. The infiltration of the paramilitaries and drug trafficking in the state leads to cases such as the death threats reported to the Vancouver Police Department in Canada against Richard Maok Riaño Botina, who from exile has presented evidence of the above to the Commission of Accusations from the Congress of Colombia. The transformation of this situation can only come from civil society, including the Colombian diaspora. Around 5 to 10% of the Colombian population lives in exile. We ask this diaspora to accompany the changes that the country needs, with its electoral participation from abroad. This year, the consulates of the Colombian state will be open for the registration of citizenship cards, to be able to exercise the right to vote. Colombian citizens abroad can elect a president, senators, and a representative of Colombians, and Colombians abroad to the House of Representatives. For the alternative indigenous and social movement in Colombia, it is important to have the support of Colombian citizens abroad. Finally, we ask the international community to monitor the next Colombian elections through the electoral missions of the European Commission and the UN Department of Political Affairs. We hope that the Human Rights Council can resume its work in person, and not entirely virtual, in the near future. Thank you very much for your attention.